We've got past life cards here from Doreen Virtue, past life cards here from Melanie France, archetypes Carolyn Miss, and archetypes Kim Krantz. So we're going to start there for you. I'm feeling duality. I'm not sure what we're getting. I don't know if these are both yours or you and a person or you and a person. We'll see. Okay, 1 second. I'm getting stuff that I don't love seeing, but I'm not in charge of what comes through, so I'm getting out of my way. Let's see what's happening here in a minute. And then we'll go into the tarot and see what the tarot's got. One more shuffle on these. Okay. This is a difficult one, and it's not going to feel very politically correct. So just know that going in. I'm going to just take this as part A and part B. I'm not sure which one precedes the other, and I'm not sure they're both yours. This could be you and someone else. The thing that I'm not loving is we're getting ships, imprisonment, and slavery. Now, I live in Utah. In America, this happened unfairly and horribly for many people early as America was being born, so to speak. It doesn't feel false, and it doesn't feel like you were the slaver. It does feel like this is in your history. In my experience of doing past lives, you can come up in the other gender. You can come up in opposite roles like mother, daughter, family. You can come up totally with a different type of family. You can also come up from a different geography, location, or even race. So I could be somebody that would have been Black or African in a past life. There's no reason that you wouldn't have had the experiences that were necessary for you to have. I don't know if this is slavery in American experience with people that were literally kidnapped from their homeland and moved over, and that is such a problem with racism in America now. I don't know if this was, because we forget there is slavery that has happened in other places, in other cultures. Like even back to, if you go back to the Greeks, they had slaves. If you go back to the Mayans, they had slaves. If you go back to other eras of time, if you go back to internment camps, that kind of thing. It's a really kind of a dark energy. This is the ships. This makes me think with this one that it's more accurate to the Black history, and forgive me if I'm speaking politically incorrectly, but that kind of history feels like this is what this was. You can't see the forest for the trees. You had a lot of places of land that you could not escape. Not that you were literally chained to, but you knew that you couldn't steer clear of this. The riddle and the poet. Your heart was a delighted heart, an open heart, big, big, big. A very loving, loving heart, even though the hardship you had suffered was huge. But the riddle and the mystery wasn't solved. It was just this never-ending knot in this particular life, in this particular aspect. Now, whether this is person B or a different life, let me take a little bit of time. You have the carpenter and the peasant, still not in the elite classes, still not in the, oh, I was a queen, blah, blah, blah. No, this could even be in Egypt, but to me, it feels more American in the Black history than any of those other cultures. We have the carpenter and the peasant coming through. The one who knows how to build, the skills are utilized, probably underpaid and undervalued. Straight to the lessons here. You focus on what you control, that you're able to control. Straight to the lessons here. You've been deceived about who you could trust, about discernment and boundaries. This is what's going on with here. The gifts were inner strength. The gifts, you figured out how to be trustworthy. And you believe in yourself. You're confident in what is your gift, what is your talent. The romanticism in this life is something that in this life was more solidly there. The carpenter's gift, analytical, intelligent, leadership, manager of things. This feels maybe 1600s-ish, late 1600s. This feels like a jump forward by maybe a century. So I'm not sure what that's about. We'll see. We've got the student, the bully, and the dilettante. Look at these shadows. Student, arrogance, and knowledge. No, you had humility here. This is for sure. You were studying, you were learning. The bully attributes. You wouldn't think a bully has a light attribute. A tendency to intimidate others. This would be maybe if you were arrogant in your knowledge. I think you would have stood up to many bullies on this. You would have held your own. I don't think if you were in the lower station in life that you would necessarily feel bad. This feels darker and heavier, really heavier. This feels a little bit more light. And then the dilettante. This is a little bit of carelessness. This is a little bit of know-it-allness that comes through. You had to be careful whether you would share your knowledge or not as carpenter and peasant. You would have to be careful on that. Very careful on that. You might have had a skill set, but if you came across as a know-it-all or somebody that knows everything, it could have led to people misunderstanding. But you did know. You did have the skills. You had acquired it. Okay, we're going to go a little bit forward here. So let's let these be here for now. Make room. Make way. Where is that deck? I just rearranged a bunch of my decks, so cards is taking a little longer to get to than I wanted. Be here somewhere. Feels like there's one more. Give me just a second. We'll continue in this. So this is the revealing light or healing light, and this is kind of a light worker's oracle that's channeled stuff. When I talk about the things you knew and your gifts, you knew this on both sides. This is both you. This is you. This is you. This is about 100 years-ish difference in time. It's like this one you were into and you paid your dues, so to speak, if that's even, it seems offensive to call it that. You learned lessons at a very high cost to your soul, to your heart, to everything. The gifts that were instilled from here, carried over to there. There's a lot of soulful lessons that happened in that time frame here. Difficult, hugely acquired through pain. We're getting love never dies, quiet time, and grounding. Now in this one, this is coming through not so much a spiritual gift, but as the gift of a relationship. You got very quiet. There was a separation between you and your person, and grounding. You got very, very quiet, very still. It wasn't that you were pouting or broody, but you had the heart of the poet. You knew the value of love. You knew the importance of it. I think you thought that you would connect again. You might not have viewed it as past life. You may have viewed it more as like, a lot of people will think religious heaven, hell, or they think religion and then afterlife. I think you would have thought it here. I don't think in this point of view that you would have perceived it as in next lifetime, next go around, in multiple lives. But there is something in here that is strongly connected. Over here. What is this quiet time? I think there is a loss of a child here. Now, I don't know if that child was, I don't think this is a miscarriage type of thing. No, this is the loss of a child being taken from you. The heartache, my God. Okay. Rough all around, it gets a little bit smoother, but going through into this one, Page of Swords is here. Now, Page of Swords, some people consider as a bully card because there's wisdom, there's knowledge, but there's a little bit of carelessness. You like cross the T's, dot the I's. This is a card where this person has the big sword and is going around communicating with this. This ties into that bully energy. Where here, it would be not just a task master, but somebody very vile. Back in the times of slavery, where people owned people, where people and families were torn apart, where loves and lovers and children were not valued, where the essence of humanity was so obscenely dealt with, so wrongly, vilely, horribly dealt with. This was part of your experience. When you cross over into here, you still have this yearning and longing, and this is for that child. This is for that one, not just the heart romance, but for that child. It was a boy. This is a boy child. There is a longing and a yearning for the one that was taken. It's not so much the prodigal by choice, but it is the son that left you, that got taken from you. This longing is still here. The rough waters to smooth. You're wanting more peace in this life than in this one. You're going more towards it. I don't want to look into this life more, but if the cards help me feel called, or if I feel called, I will, because it's not about what I want, it's about what comes through. This feels like almost, yes, transitional from here to here. The Hermit. This is the mini Hermit here. This is the longing for that here, and this is the older version of that. This is the dark night of the soul. Some kind of knowledge has been acquired. The Knight of Wands comes through as a slam, ma'am, thank you, ma'am, fiery, fiery, fiery. This is the younger, this is the older. Eight of Coins, the fruits of labor, the fruits of work, the lesson. This is like the carpenter, and this was also, let me pull this, the peasant. So yeah, the station has changed, but the skills have been acquired, the carpenter and the peasant. The challenges. Sometimes difficulty prioritizing tasks, and sometimes feeling trapped or defeated. Sometimes a little bit of fear. But there's skill going on here. What's going on with this? This feels connected here. This feels connected to you here. I made the assumption here that this would be the feminine angle, the feminine aspect as the mother to child. I don't know. Perhaps it was father to child. I want to investigate. 1 second. It's a weird one to get. This is a weird deck. This is called the Universal Fantasy. It's very 80s. It's the deck. We need to know, or I'm asking. The relationship, was it mother-son or father-son over here? Four of Swords, the more embattled. This is father-son. So this is male in gender. You're being in the male gender. This is the form you were in. And I think that this is African American and that this is father-son relationship. As to this aspect, this is the parent. This is the son. This is you seeing this son get older. He's not taken from you in that regard. But the dark night of the soul, the lesson that you and your son shared in this life is coming through in this one. What's the relationship there? Because it's paternal, we know. Is it still father-son or does it shift? It's still son. It's still father-son. It's still father-son. The heartache that was there, and it's in the same suit. It's still there. There was a lot of difficulty. It's still father-son in this life too. Now, going forward, you may have interactions with this person. You may well be mother of this person. This one feels African American. This one feels more Anglo in nature. I have no reason to think that other than that's what my intuition says. And not that one is necessarily better than the other. I'm not sure if that's Irish. I don't think it is. I don't know what that is. Minor Witch deck. Let's see what we got here. And not that it matters one way or another, you know. None of us get to choose how we arrive, or none of us are aware of our choices we may have made before we were born, right? We don't get the long view. We get the in the moment view. But let's see what's going on here. More about this, where you were carpenter and peasant. You would have had to acquire skills. The Devil and the Knight of Cups, the chains that held you. The sorrow, the sadness, and then the Knight of Cups. This is finally you've come to the happiness, but you've paid a heavy price. And this devil, this burden, the literal chains of being bound to this last life, took time to break. It took years to break through this. Then the Knight of Cups comes in. This isn't so much regarding the sun. This is regarding you. Finally figuring out the lesson. What else do you need to know on this? King of Pentacles. Now this is an improvement in your station, an improvement in how you handle your household that was totally disrupted, torn apart, and not regarded with any kind of care by those around you in this realm. This is something you were able to establish, to hold on to keep, to have lessons in this lifetime. Very, very loyal father energy coming through. This is you as the loyal father. I think it was a little bit of tragedy and pain when you passed over, when you crossed over for this side. Look at this. Interesting. Interesting, interesting. Look how this deck even handles it. Pain crossing over on this side. A truth that's carried over from the other side. Anything else? I think your death came and it was painful, but it was slow going. You had time to pass on the knowledge. You had time to pass on the knowledge. Definitely had time to pass it on. Time to offer things here, and time to offer and be open and have receptivity met on the other side of things. Yeah, there's big reward, generosity, charity in the giving on the other side of this. The ability, I think you gave a skill set, passed some of the skill set down. Some of the carpentry, the building together, the putting together. They have something in carpentry, and I think it's called, I think it is dovetailing. It's a dovetailing, interlocking in the drawer when you have right angles meeting. I'm not a carpenter. I don't know, but I think you taught something and it dovetailed in for your son. Now, whether you had other children, it wasn't the relevant thing. In this particular thing, it feels like you did have other children. The thing that you need to know is the child that was lost, you had time with again, and things dovetailed. They came in together in a way that felt better. Anything else on this? What you offered was well received. The knowledge was passed down in a traditional way. This is something you worry on here in this life. This is the same type of energy. This is the 10 of Swords. They have 2 of them in this deck. This is the 9. This, oh no, have I done enough? Have I done enough for my kids? Have I learned and passed this lesson? This is something that is in this life you will face. It'll disrupt your sleep. This isn't here yet. It's coming. It's coming. This doesn't feel like it's coming in months. This feels like this is coming in 4 to 5 years. You're going to have this worry, this epiphany, and a little bit of a dark night of the soul, a little bit of a mini tower moment. Don't freak out when you get it. It's part of the lessons. It's part of the learning. This feels coming forward here. Yeah, this will lead you to this. It's like finally you will get to this bliss in the home life. It's not coming today or tomorrow. This is a weird one because we bounce 100 years here, from here to here. And this suddenly fills in the now and in the future, which is very interesting. This 10 resolves here. And there is a little bit of anxiety. That feels about complete. Is there anything else she needs to know? This is Megan Watterson's, I think it's the Divine Feminine. The joy-permeated mother, I am my own guru. I know that self never changes. Self just grows. It doesn't necessarily change. I am in service of divine love. I move the way love asks me to move. Yes, you did. Yes, you do. The Queen of Saintly Women, and then the one. And I don't know how to say this. I think it's Yamoja. I'm not sure. It could be Yamoha, because, I don't know, Phil is a Garcia, so it's like, for us, the J's sometimes are H. But it says, Goddess of all that flows, I am an ocean of creative energy. I give birth to what exists within me. These are the energies that you're going to be carrying and you're dealing with. These are the things you need to know going forward. Still get grounded when you feel turbulence, but these are the ones. Honey, will you hold these so they can see them? Just do them like one at a time or whatever. And that feels complete. That feels like what you were experiencing, what's carried over, what's been brought forward. And some of this you won't know till karma plays it out in the future, which is kind of an interesting thing to get from a past life reading, but what comes through is what comes through. It's not my job to get in the way of it. And it seems like the lessons that you have acquired as you go are assisting and coming together more and more. They're dovetailing again. I'm not sure why that imaging is there. You'd have to look in carpentry if that is a thing. I think it is a thing. That's what I've got for you. Good luck. Good luck, good luck in taking the lessons from the past and letting them unfold in the now. And there was no failure. There was no, you didn't succeed, you didn't win. There was much hardship, but there was no failure in the situations you were in. You did the best that you could, the best you knew, and you did grow.
But it actually makes sense. I've been feeling some karmic lessons lately.
Yeah, you'll get more. What had to take 100 years for you to slide into this other life and learn some lessons, things are speeding up in an exponential way. They're accelerated in this lifetime. You'll be getting spiritual lessons and things you need to know a little more quickly in this lifetime than you would have been able to here because it was so difficult, or here because it was also difficult. Here, it's difficult, but comparatively, you're better situated in this life than this one by far, from the outside looking in. So that's what I got for you.
Alrighty.
Wow. Good luck in everything. And yeah, if you're having spiritual awakening, epiphanies, and all of this, and if you're having dark night of the soul, don't forget that you are held. Don't forget that you are on purpose. You are on point. You're where you need to be. Okay. Wow, kazow. That was a little bit difficult, heavy, but all right.